3 reasons why buying before the end of the year, you can get a great deal. So if you're new to the channel, I've been a lender for over 18 years. My team's one of the top purchase teams in America. I've been talking to my clients about this, so I was like, I should do a video. I've had a couple clients say to me, oh, I guess I'm not gonna find a house this year. And I'm like, why? They're like, well, you won't be able to close in time. I'm like, yeah, I can. So let's talk about why you wanna shop towards the end of the year and how closing by the end of the year can be the leverage that you need to get the deal that you want. Okay, there's 3 tiers that I'm always thinking about. I'm thinking about investors. So there's a lot of tax issues where sometimes an investor may want to get rid of a property by the end of the year based on what's going on with their personal tax situation. Same thing for individuals. There can be motivating factors towards the end of the year where you can get a better deal as long as you close by December 31st. For instance, if I was looking at a house and, let's say a 30-day close was January 5th, I would be asking the seller, hey, if I close by the end of the year, will you do a lower price? Hey, if I close by the end of the year, can you give me XYZ? You can test it, right? You could just do the offer as, you could have an addendum that says, if I close by December 31st, seller to credit buyer XYZ, otherwise close January 5th. It's a really easy way to see how motivated the seller is to close by the end of the year. So the first reason that you may get a better deal is if they're motivated to close by the end of the year for tax purposes. Number 2, builders. If you're looking at new construction, it's just like how often you'll see with cars, the end of the year sale. It always gets dressed up as be home for Christmas, ho, ho, ho. So they want to get as many of those houses off their books as possible by the end of the year. They don't want to be rolling into next year with a bunch of debt and houses unsold, because for their shareholders, that doesn't look great. If they can end the year with a bunch of big sales, that looks a lot better than dragging it into the new year just because of $10K per house, right? So if I was looking at new construction and I saw, ho, 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 5K off if you close by the end of the year, I would be like, ha, 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 I want 15K and I'll close by the end of the year, because I know that that's valuable for them. I know that me closing on that house by December 31st is more valuable to them than me closing on January 5th, even if I'm paying more on January 5th. Crazy, right? But this is the stuff you got to think about. I think about all of this stuff way too much, but I've also seen it over the years. Like, the amount of pressure put on lenders to close by the end of the year is crazy sometimes. And I've seen it from the builders. I've seen it from personal people. I've seen the whole gamut. The third reason you may get a better deal if you close by the end of the year is what I call the clean slate psychology, right? Think about it. I don't know what it is, but we all go into a new year being like, okay, 2025 is over. This year's gonna be completely different. I'm gonna eat right, I'm gonna exercise. And it's like, you could have done that any month, but we've been programmed since birth to feel like a new year is a clean slate. And you may have sellers where there's not really a tax advantage. They're not a builder, but they want that clean slate. They don't want to deal with this house anymore. They just, fine, I'll 10K off, take it, because they want the clean slate psychology. So instead of just going into your turkey hibernation, as so many of us do, because, oh my gosh, I'm already dreaming of that Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know about you. I would strongly advise, look for opportunities in your market. And if you're like, well, I have a house I really like, are you sure you can close by the end of the year? What I'm telling my clients is that as long as you're in contract by the first week of December, I can close this. Where I would get concerned is, like, if I was talking to someone in New York, I'd be like, I want to close it, but I don't know if the title and the attorneys can. If you're somewhere hyper rural where you're the only house in 50 miles, like, getting an appraiser can take longer. But for the states where it's like Florida, Texas, all these states and areas where there's like a big population, easy. We can literally get all the way up to, I would say, December. Like, if I was being crazy, in my youth, I would do this, but now, like, I just don't do the stress. I would be saying like up to December 15th, right? The reason why now I would say December 10th is because once you get into that half of December, it's like molasses. You can't move as quick because it's like the escrow company's closed. Oh, we're closing at 2 for our holiday party. Like there's just so many nonsense reasons to not be working. Where is, I'm just thinking of Scrooge because that's what I sound like right now. I'm like, why are people taking off Christmas? No, but you just don't have as many business days. That's the problem. So that's why I would say, realistically, if you're in an area, I would be recommending getting in contract by December 10th. If you're VA, I would prefer December 1st just because of the VA appraisal, but it depends on the area. If you're San Diego, not as worried, right? So the bottom line is this. The end of the year can be a great time to get an additional bargain if the seller has incentive to sell by the end of the year, which many do for the 3 reasons that I covered in this video. If you're looking for a good mortgage lender who can move fast, that has a finely oiled machine filled of empathetic people who really care, give me a call, 786-933-2077. We can map it out with you, but I like the end of the year. You can get some good deals. Thanks for watching.